The following is a presentation of WUSF and Bay News 9.
The dream of becoming a homeowner is as American as apple pie. But with the increase in subprime loans, massive job losses, and homes turning into ATM machines, our nation is now suffering one of the worst mortgage crises in history. And the Tampa Bay area is no exception. Welcome to Facing the Mortgage Crisis, a Florida Matters special edition. Hi, I'm Irene Mayer.
And I'm Al Rochelle from Bay News 9, joining Irene for this very important community initiative to connect people in need with information and services they can trust. Free services available right now in our community. You know, it wasn't long ago when a young couple could buy a house, raise a family, and expect to grow old there. That part of the American dream is quickly becoming a fantasy for hundreds of thousands of families.
You can go to just about any neighborhood and see the telltale signs of abandoned homes, overgrown yards, broken windows, broken dreams. Rows of real estate signs now decorate properties on the streets of the rich and poor, in the suburbs, cities, and rural areas. From condos to mansions, it seems no homeowners have been left untouched. Thriving subdivisions have come to a complete halt, leaving half-built homes in their wake.
Many homes in foreclosure were bought by investors trying to flip them for a quick profit. But most of the homes in our foreclosure crisis are occupied by people you see every day. They are working families who somehow got behind on their mortgage payments and now face uncertainty and constant stress.
To help put a face on the mortgage crisis, we met 4 sets of homeowners. All live right here in the Bay Area, and all of them are in different stages of the foreclosure process. They are the faces behind the statistics. They could be your best friend or coworker, a family member or neighbor. None of them expected to lose their home. Here are their stories.
This one smells like a candle. Ooh, cool.
It's a typical evening at the Rodriguez home. Eileen Rodriguez and her husband Javier get dinner ready, while their daughters Jolie and Lori play.
Oh, that's nice though.
Daily life now revolves around decisions, both mundane, like what should we have for dinner, to monumental. Will we be able to keep our home? The path leading to Eileen and Javier's struggle to keep their home began with Eileen's job loss.
She lost her job, and we thought that it would be like a month or 2 for her to find another job. We didn't expect it would be almost a year without a job.
Eileen and Javier's struggle continued with a counseling agency dropping their case because the counselor couldn't get through to the bank. And inconsistent advice from the bank representatives Eileen and Javier spoke with.
One lady practically told us, pack your bags and leave, you have a week. And she just got really desperate, crying, so told, wait 15 minutes and we call back again. And we did that, and then another lady told us, okay, the case get denied, but you have 90 days to reapply again. And then we call again, and then they give us another option in between 45 minutes. So
within 45 minutes, you will have a complete different answer.
For Eileen and Javier, it's not so much about keeping a certain address and way of life, but more about keeping a dream alive for their family.
It's hard, to tell your children you have to move on and your home is not your home anymore. They don't understand that.
Eileen and Javier were able to find a housing counseling agency to work with them on their case, and a mediation between them and their bank has been scheduled. Their fate lies in the outcome of the pending mediation. Amy Brunel owns a condo in Safety Harbor and never expected to face losing her home to foreclosure. Her problems began with a series of layoffs during a time when the market became flooded with applicants. Finding work in any field is now competitive.
I had no problems paying this mortgage, the salary that I was getting. at any of my jobs. I've never had a problem like I have today. Even my condo dues have escalated.
She tried on her own to get a loan modification through the bank.
So I went to Wachovia and they told me that I would have to be put on a waiting list. It was first come, first served. I never heard anything back from Wachovia after 6 months.
When that didn't work, she looked for help elsewhere.
My neighbor happened to mention to me about HUD agency. She had heard it through her boss and how she had gotten her mortgage paid for through HUD agency. So I thought, well, I'll give it a try because I was in such a financial, bind.
Amy compares the process of getting her loan modified to what it's like looking for work.
It's a job in itself, just trying to get the loan modification, waiting 3 hours or, online on the telephone, waiting for Wachovia to answer the phone, sitting on there for maybe 45 minutes, transferring from loan modification to another department and waiting. I mean, even with your counselor, they have no in. That you still have to, she's just a number two.
Meanwhile, Amy continues to update her paperwork. If any of her information changes, it all has to be filled out again. As it turns out, Amy got married 2 months ago. So while she's adjusting to her new life with husband Gerard, she's also adjusting her paperwork.
They have yet to receive the letters of authority that it's okay for HUD to go ahead and arbitrate for me. You just have to keep refaxing stuff and keeping up with your bank statements.
The day-to-day grind of simultaneously looking for work and trying to save her home is taking its toll.
Well, at the beginning, the stress that brought on the initial of not being able to find a job due to the fact you're being laid off. Being laid off 1 or 2 times, but then a third and a fourth within 4 years is very frustrating. And at some points, you feel like giving up. Why continue? But then I look around at my home and I think of all the good things that have happened to me, and I just know things are going to turn around. They say they get worse before they get better, but I understand that people are frustrated.
Omar Queeg and his wife Yaritza have 2 young children, Lestad and Yanitza. The Queeg family has lived in their home for 4 years. 2 months after moving in, Yaritza lost her job. The couple decided it was best for Yaritza to stay home full-time and care for Lestad, who has autism.
Find a dog. Lestad, find it.
It was up to me to keep up the payments, and the payments were pretty high by then. And I did it like that for about a year and a half, but I couldn't make it anymore because alas, the economy is going downhill and I was cut down hours.
With Omar's hours cut, the family was forced to reevaluate their sources of income. Yaritza went back to school and got certified as a nurse's assistant. But by that time, they had fallen behind in enough payments that the bank started foreclosure proceedings. Omar had no luck negotiating with the bank for a loan modification and decided to contact a local housing counseling agency.
He asked me for some paperwork, bills, pay stubs, what was the situation about it. And he put everything together and he faxed it over and talked to a friend he got over there. And that's when they said like the ball started rolling. It took like 4 months. He said, don't worry about it, it's going to take a long time, but we're going to do something about it.
Working with a HUD-approved agency has helped Omar navigate the proper channels he needs to take.
They knew like the step that I got to follow, they said you need this, this, and this, and you need to do this and that, and provide it. I just put everything together to him and he take care of it. He did it practically because I just gave him the pay stubs, what was the situation, what was the problem, explain everything to him. He took care of it.
The stress of trying to pay the bills with one income and taking care of their special needs son has been overwhelming at times.
Pretty bad. I couldn't barely sleep. I had nightmares and stuff like that, but I said whatever it's gonna do is gonna be.
Joy McCrae-Fox and her husband Doug are very familiar with the frustrations of trying to get a loan modified. Joy describes their 31-month ordeal as a mortgage mess.
We have been living here since '97, 12 years. We thought it was going to be a temporary problem. My husband lost his job after 10 years, and we thought we'd get back on track from that. We continued to make our mortgage payments, and then I lost my job in the same year, which was really the death knell for being able to continue the escalating payments with an adjustable rate that went up while our income was going down.
Stuck in an adjustable rate mortgage, Joy and Doug made repeated attempts to work out payment arrangements with their bank.
I started calling, saying we're going to be in a crisis. We can't do this. Please, can you look at it? Can we get modified? What can we do? Nothing, nothing. Denial, denial, denial. Then when I lost my job, we were still making payments. I reasserted, now we're really going to be in trouble. This is absolutely going to be impossible. And we continued to make payments all the way up. I lost my job in November of '07. We made payments up to May of '08 until they returned to payment and refused to take a partial payment.
Joy began filing important documents and notes from conversations with the bank in a notebook.
I thought it would be helpful going to court. I thought it would be helpful trying to justify why they didn't have to foreclose, why we didn't have to have attorney's fees. It didn't help. It didn't help much, but it helps me keep track.
She now has 3 large notebooks detailing the 31-month struggle to keep her home.
Communication, letters of hardship, requests for modifications, everything to do with the mortgage mess. And my mortgage mess timeline, which is now like 5, 6 Excel pages, trying to keep track. We're waiting for an agreement from Saxon Mortgage. They made us an offer that we can live with after 31 months of trying to get a modification. And I spoke to a representative at a housing counseling session. I followed up with them, and they've supposed to be sending the paper since June 30th.
While we were talking with Joy at her home, her mail came, and with it, a potential new agreement from her mortgage company.
Is it from Saxon?
Yes, I think.
Okay, we don't know what it could be. We have been waiting. Oh, jeez. Form letter. Not what we're waiting for.
Going from pure elation to despair is part of the Foxes' daily life while trying to save their home.
It's been very difficult. It's been, at one point we thought we had the closing. We're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a painting party. It was over, and then it was like, no, we're down to, we don't know if we're packing boxes yet. And the up and down is very hard.
Amy and Eileen struggle to find permanent work and a dependable income are commonplace worries among hundreds of thousands of Bay Area homeowners. Many are just one paycheck away from disaster and finding that good intentions are not enough to pay the mortgage. From creating and recreating resumes and scouring the internet, to attending local job and education fairs and working with job assistance groups, 970,000 people in Florida are dealing with unemployment and the struggle to find a job in today's market. That's more than 1 in every 10 people, more than the national average and more than any other time in the past 34 years. The result is a domino effect. With no income, there's no money to pay the bills, including the mortgage, and that's led to a growing number of people like Amy and Joy who are at risk of losing their homes because they lost their jobs. Bill Sanchez from the Tampa Bay Community Development Corporation estimates about 70% of the clients who come to the HUD-approved agency fall into this group.
The problem is that the unemployment is lasting a lot longer than it used to. We're going into some people being out of work for over a year. Without an income to show the lender, it's very difficult to negotiate any type of loss mitigation option for them.
It's why he encourages people to contact his group or another HUD-approved counseling agency as soon as they lose their job or think there's a chance that they could soon be unemployed.
The reason that I say that is because speaking with the bank, the client might get lost in either the wrong department or speaking to the wrong person. Coming to a HUD-approved agency, we can actually help the client explain the process and be able to get in touch with the right department.
With so few jobs available, many are finding the little savings they have can run out quickly. So in addition to being proactive with finances, Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance Elizabeth Magnuson says you have to be proactive in your job search.
Most people do have skills that they can transfer from one job to another, and so they need to step back and take an evaluation of what their actual skills are. Maybe not what their job is, but what their actual skills are, and see what they can transfer those skills over into another career.
She says that goes for entry-level workers to high-paid professionals and everyone in between. That's where the Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance and similar programs under Florida's Agency for Workforce Innovation can help. Now, thanks to a $3 million grant from the federal government, AWI's one-stop career centers like this one will be able to provide even more assistance. The statewide programs offer counseling services, job training, and career fairs. They also offer a full calendar of classes and networking opportunities.
Most of the jobs that people are getting hired for is through networking, so make sure you network.
In some cases, that could mean volunteering or taking an internship. For others, it could mean taking a job in a different area or salary range than what you're used to.
You can't be afraid to go for a job. Maybe it's retail, you know, just to bring in some money so that you can keep your home, so that you can keep food on the table until you can find that job that you're really looking for.
No matter what your level, or if you're just looking for something to get you through the tough times, the website Employ Florida has positions for just about everyone.
There are jobs out there. They're just not as many as there used to be. Sometimes, though, you're in an industry that's just not doing well at all, and it's not looking like it's going to bounce back. You really need to maybe think about going into something like healthcare that is ongoing. There are always jobs in healthcare. You know, green jobs is another one that we're going to see, I think, in the near future is going to be growing.
The difference could also be just getting a certificate or a few classes to gain the skills you're missing. Elizabeth suggests making a list and looking for jobs similar to the one you've had. An AWI counselor or EmployFlorida.com can help you do just that.
Once you've figured out where you want to go, what you want to do, then you need to start marketing yourself. Get the training if you need it, redo your resume to reflect your skills and not your jobs, and start applying to those jobs.
She adds that before it's too late, you should also aim to put aside 3 to 6 months' pay in case you're faced with unemployment.
You're looking for a dental assistant?
Because as Amy and Joy have learned, an open mind, determination, and time may be just as important as a good resume.
We'll post information about the Workforce Alliance and other valuable job resources on our website at tampabaymortgagecrisis.org. While Amy and Eileen are looking for permanent work, Joy and Omar are still facing work-related challenges that increase their doubts of keeping their homes. At the auto shop where Omar works, business has slowed down, and now Omar works only 3 days a week.
Right now, like I say, they work something with us, but it's still pretty tight budget. Crossing my finger, hopefully they start picking up again, but let's see what happens.
Can I have the dog?
Yoritza has begun working the overnight shift as a nurse's assistant at St. Joseph's Hospital and takes care of their son during the day. It isn't easy, but the family wants to do whatever it takes to get by. They were able to refinance their loan, so as long as their income remains relatively steady, they should be on good standing with their mortgage lender. Joy remains hopeful about the loan modification her mortgage company offered.
Going forward, what they offered us seemed fair. And as long as we can do that, we can do it. There's just been so much confusion. One department telling me one thing, another department. I'm cautiously optimistic is my word. But until I get the paperwork, And until they take another payment from me, I'm not breathing a sigh of relief yet, and I'm not buying paint.
A couple of days after we spoke to Joy at her home, we visited her workplace. Joy helps take care of Pinellas County's homeless population at Pinellas Hope. It's a source of irony not lost on Joy.
While I'm trying to help them start over, I'm trying to hold on to what I have. It's kind of humbling, and I am grateful for what we have, and I guess it makes me even more determined not to lose it.
At a place designed to offer love, kindness, and joy, it's hard to imagine the strength it must take to offer hope when you're facing a crisis of your own.
It would be probably a major upheaval, because if we can't stay here in this home, maybe that's the time to move closer to family, or maybe that's the time to try to do the traveling we've always wanted to do, or maybe we don't want to answer those questions right now, because we don't want that to happen.
The letter Joy and Doug have been waiting for from their mortgage company is delivered days later.
Finally, we got the papers. It's what we've been waiting for. There are a couple problems, as you know, we have approximately $1,300 sitting there. They seem to forget to put in a listing. It is what we verbally agreed to, a couple different things, with the fixed rate and a payment that we can make. I mean, I think the nightmare's over. This is what we're waiting for.
Doug loves to garden in their backyard. Maybe now it won't be as bittersweet.
I want things to get back to normal, you know. I like things in my backyard, you know. I like to put stuff out there. I like to grow flowers and stuff. I can't do that if I know they're gonna take my house, you know. So I kind of put everything on hold, and now we're just working through it again, and we're gonna see what happens.
Joy, Omar, Eileen, and Amy were all approached by people trying to offer them a quick fix for their mortgage problems. Some were asked to pay a fee up front or even sign their title over. But each homeowner had a gut feeling that something was wrong. Sadly, foreclosure scams are on the rise, and many homeowners in crisis are so desperate to save their homes that they easily fall victim to this type of crime. It starts with a knock on the door, a phone call, a letter, or an email. They promise instant relief for all of your foreclosure fears. It sounds too good to be true, and it is.
In Orlando, we did a workshop about 3 months ago, and I saw about 10 clients, and 8 out of the 10 had actually gone to one of these companies before they came to us.
William Sanchez hears numerous accounts every day of foreclosure scammers robbing financially strapped homeowners out of hundreds of dollars with nothing done to help their situation.
A lot of the times they'll get the money and then they'll close up, change names, move away, and do the same thing someplace else.
There's some situations where they're told that they can be rescued out of the foreclosure if they, for example, transfer their property to them. They will hold it for a year, transfer it back to them after the year is gone. And then they end up getting evicted because at that point they're a tenant, they're paying rent, they're not the homeowner anymore.
The Federal Trade Commission put together a series of PSAs to help homeowners avoid falling victim to foreclosure scams.
The financial problem started when I was injured at work. There was no money coming in. I had to figure something out quick.
They recommend homeowners first contact the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, also known as HUD, to get a listing of government-approved housing counselors in your area.
HUD-approved agencies do not charge for their services. There's a very good reason why. The fact that we don't charge for the services puts us in a much better position to be able to help the client.
And if a homeowner has already fallen victim to a foreclosure scam, there is still hope.
A lot of the times, the foreclosure scam company hasn't really done much with the lender, so we can actually call up the lender and figure out what they've done or what they haven't done and try to help the client from that point.
Linda Pickler with Consumer Credit Counseling Services recommends that victims of foreclosure scams report the incident to proper authorities.
The best thing that I could tell a person to do is call the Florida Department of Financial Services. That's one of the main things that they do, is work with individuals that have been victims of scams, and they will actually file a complaint on your behalf.
And Vicki Carver understands the stress homeowners feel, but cautions against a quick fix.
I don't want people to think that if you go to an attorney or that you go to somebody who, you know, like we were saying before, you pay to help, that they can get through any of this delay. They can't. We have to do the same thing that the borrower has to do, which is call the loss mitigation department and sit on the phone on hold and try to get things that way. We have to fill out all these paperwork and fax them in and just wait. It is going to take time. It's not easy, but they need to get started as soon as possible, just to get in there and get in that line.
It's scary to think that in your greatest hour of need, there are people ready to take advantage of you. But we want to help. We've posted the information our experts just gave you about avoiding foreclosure scams on our website. Go to tampabaymortgagecrisis.org.
Well, as the weeks went by on our production of Facing the Mortgage Crisis, we kept checking in on our homeowners to see what news, if any, came regarding their mortgage problems. Well, here's where they are now.
Eileen and Javier's loan modification is still pending. After mediation, the bank was granted 60 days to work on their case. Eileen and Javier had to sign a confidentiality agreement and cannot comment further. They remain hopeful for a positive resolution. Amy's husband Gerard just got a new job with a fitness center, and Amy has been offered a job working there as well. She has to go to training first, which the company will pay for. She's optimistic that this will be a more permanent source of income. Her loan modification is still pending. Omar and Yuritsa were able to refinance their home loan and both continue working. Omar hopes his hours will increase when and if the economy picks up. Joy and Doug signed the loan modification from their bank and are breathing a sigh of relief. Their home improvement projects that were put on hold will resume.
It's tough to watch people in our area struggle with such life-changing dilemmas. We wish the best for the families we met on Facing the Mortgage Crisis, and we'll keep you updated with their progress down the road on tampabaymortgagecrisis.org.
Now, the United Way offers free programs to homeowners needing help. If you are facing foreclosure or have a friend, a neighbor, or even a family member in this situation, we urge you to call 211. We are in this crisis together, so we encourage you to share this information with anyone you might know who needs help.
As we mentioned throughout the program, we've put together a website, tampabaymortgagecrisis.org, that contains resources, tips, and advice from trusted experts. There's also a forum where you can share your personal experiences in hopes of helping others get through this mortgage crisis. Thank you for joining us on this special edition of Florida Matters. I'm Irene Mayer.
And I'm Al Rochelle. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
This has been a presentation of WUSF and Bay News 9.